Hello and good evening and welcome to the regular meeting of the City of Morgantown Board of Zoning Appeals. Please turn off all cell phones or other devices that may disrupt these proceedings. It is the duty of this board to consider requests for relief from the requirements of the city's zoning regulations, to consider conditional use permit requests, and to hear administrative appeals. We will conduct business in the following order: review, amend, and approve minutes of a previous meeting. We will move to unfinished business and then to new business, and then conclude with announcements from staff. Each request is heard in the order that it appears on the agenda. For each conditional use and variance request, the following is done. We will introduce the agenda item, and the Planning Division will present a staff report, which may or may not offer a recommendation. The applicant agent will be asked to present their justification for their request, which may include questions by members of the board. We'll then open a public hearing to hear testimony in support of or in opposition to the request. Rules regarding public testimony are as follows. Anyone wishing to testify during the public hearing may do so once recognized by me, or may, in lieu of oral testimony, submit written testimony to the chair. All speakers are asked to approach the podium, state their name and address for the record, and speak clearly into the microphone. All comments must be addressed to this board, should be relevant to the application, and may not be of a personal nature or personal attacks. Summary will be limited to 5 minutes. If members of the board have any questions of the speaker, that time will not be counted toward her 5 minutes. We remind you that irrelevant comments or comments of a personal nature or personal attacks may result in the speaker forfeiting his or her opportunity to participate in the public hearing. After all testimony is heard, we will declare the public hearing closed and no further public comment will be permitted. Again, uncivil, unruly, and or disruptive behavior is discouraged, and if it happens, will result in removal from this public meeting. State law requires the board to consider findings of fact for each conditional use and variance request. The request cannot be granted unless a majority of the quorum present finds in the positive of all of the findings of fact. The board may elect to continue the hearing to another date if it needs additional information. And then applicants are reminded that they will be notified in writing by the Planning Division of the board's findings and conclusions, regardless of whether a request is approved or denied. Decisions of this board can be appealed to the Circuit Court of Montague County within 30 days upon written receipt from planning. Any work done relating to decisions rendered by this board during this 30-day period is at the sole financial risk of the applicant. So we have meeting minutes to consider. We're considering meeting minutes from February 16th, April 20th, and July 20th, 2022. Any comments, questions?
Yes.
Go ahead.
Just these should be labeled number 1, since these were all regular meetings.
Right.
They need to be regular instead of special.
Mm-hmm.
Also, it would appear that in the February minutes, there was somebody named Shamblin who said everything that I said. So I'd like to correct my name for the record.
Right.
So.
Okay. So just spelling correction
Sorry
on,
about that.
yeah, Mr. Schamberger's name. And then, so just in the heading, instead of special meeting minutes for all 3, it's just regular meeting minutes. And I didn't see anything else.
No.
Did you?
Nope.
That's good. All right. So we don't really need a motion to accept, but we hereby accept meeting minutes for the meeting dates that I referenced for February, April, and July. All right. So moving on to, I don't believe we have unfinished business, do we? No. We have one new agenda item for this evening, and that is for case number V22-18, City Neon, 1137 Van Voris Road. This is a request by Crystal Miller of City Neon on behalf of Paget Morgantown for variance relief from Article 1369 concerning signage. And this property or project is referenced with regard to tax district 15, tax map 6, parcel 43B1, neighborhood business district, professional residential and office district. Do we have a representative to speak for this case?
Crystal Miller, City Neon, 1095 Chaplain Road, Morgantown, West Virginia. So we are presenting the signage for Paget Business Services. They are located in Chelsea Square. That's off of Van Voris Road. And the plaza makes an L shape. The building in particular is about 330 foot setback from Van Voris, which makes it very difficult for visibility along Van Voris, which is very busy. You have the parking lot in front of that building as well as the entrance into the main plaza. Nearby businesses all have illuminated signs. This particular parcel is zoned as a B1, but it's bookended by B2s, which are allowed to have internal illumination in the signage. On this particular building, there are 2 other signs that have internal illumination that was granted through variance, and they would just like the same opportunity to advertise during evening hours.
Okay. Thank you. Any questions?
So the variance is just for illumination.
There is
And the area.
There is a size
There's
area.
a 13 square foot variance.
Okay.
This is similar to, this is in that same
Yeah, we heard a case.
section of the plaza, and it's very similar to
Yeah.
other cases we've considered.
Right.
It seems, it's similar to the other cases, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And then, with regard to, there wasn't anything in terms of the findings of fact that struck me as problematic.
And the fact the illumination would be away from the residential area. Seems fine.
Yeah, it's not as if the illuminated signage will be, it's not directed at the R1, the adjacent R1. It's directed toward Van Voris. And then that, the straight line distance, that is not so much from a wayfinding standpoint, but just like, hey, this business is back here, 330 feet, that's a long distance. So it seems reasonable to me. Any questions about, do we have a motion with regard to the?
Do
Oh.
we need a public hearing?
Yes, we do. Let's open the public hearing. Sorry, thanks for the reminder. So we're going to go ahead and open the public hearing for this case V22-18. Anyone wishing to step forward to speak in support of or in opposition to this case, please do so now. Seeing no one, close the public hearing. Did you have?
No, I don't have much to add from the staff report. I think staff agree with the conversation you've had so far, and we don't provide a recommendation in the staff report.
Because it's signage.
Yep, and the variance would be for illumination, size, and materials.
Okay. And then, so specifically with regard to the material, do you want to give just a brief description of just the materials?
Yeah.
Since we didn't really address that specifically.
So it's an illuminated cabinet. It's an aluminum cabinet. So the sides and back are of aluminum. And the front side, because of the internal illumination, in order to see that, we would need to slide acrylic in there, and then the writing would be in vinyl.
Right.
So the
And
acrylic.
so it's the panel that's illuminated, not, the lettering within the panel.
Correct.
It's for the entire panel.
And the way this one would show up, because it is a white background, that part would show the illumination, and the letters would be the offset of that, because they are in dark
Right.
script.
Yeah. Well, the aluminum case, that's not unusual.
Yeah.
And the panel material, that's not unusual. So, even though it's not, they're asking for a variance, it's not unusual. So, do we have a motion? I mean, the findings of fact seem very straightforward.
Yep. I move that we accept the petitioner's findings of fact.
Do we have a second? All
A
right, so we have a motion to accept findings of fact as
Stated in the
referenced on pages 24 and 25 of the meeting packet. How do we vote? Let's take a roll call. Mr. Schomburger
Aye.
Aye.
and Ms. Cook, and I also vote aye, so we accept the findings of fact. Do we
And
have a motion?
I move we grant the variance for Paget Business on their sign.
And I
As
will
stated in
s-
the packet.
And I will second that motion to grant the variance requested for V 22-18. So we have a motion, seconded. How do we vote?
Aye.
Mr. Schamberger?
Aye.
I also vote aye. So your variance request has been granted. Just for the record, keep in mind, decisions of this board can be appealed to the Circuit Court of Montague County within 30 days upon receipt of the written notification, generally 5 to 7 days from planning, and any work done relating to decisions rendered by this board during this 30-day period is at your sole financial risk, or your client's sole financial risk. Thank you once again, Ms. Miller, for coming
Enjoy
down.
the-
Take care.
Yeah.
Take care. Do we have any announcements?
No staff announcements.
Ooh.
Sorry.
I move we
Okay.
adjourn.
I
We have
second.
we have a motion to adjourn. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
This meeting, regular meeting is hereby adjourned.
All right.
All
That's
right.
awesome.